Hi, in this video, let us discuss about the use of finally block. Okay, so let us declare a integer variable I. We assign value 6 to it. Let us declare another integer variable k and assign value 2, and declare a third variable m and assign value the result of I divided by k. Okay. So in this code, we keep this code inside the try block. Okay, let us keep this code inside try block, and we can have a corresponding catch block. So now we can have a finally block, and we have system.out.println inside the catch block and inside the catch block and inside the finally block. Let's print inside catch block. We also have the system.out.println inside the finally block and print inside finally block. So uh, the speciality of the finally block is the code we write inside finally block will get executed always. That means all scenarios, the code inside finally block will be executed. So in this case, the code does not throw any exception because we just divide the value 6 by 2 and assign the value to the integer variable m. This code doesn't throw any exception, but in this case also the finally block get executed. So let us run this code and see the output now. See, inside finally block is printed. Since there is no exception, the catch block code doesn't get is not executed. Okay, so only the inside finally block code is executed. Now what we do, we will make the code throw exception. So we assign value 0 to k. Okay. So now this code will throw arithmetic exception. So what will happen is the control will go to the catch block because we have a catch block. So the exception, we will make this as an arithmetic exception because the arithmetic exception will be thrown. So in this case, arithmetic exception will be thrown. So the control will go to the catch block. So the catch block, the code inside catch block will be executed. In this case also, so we have a exception, but this exception is handled using a catch block. In this case also, the finally block code will be executed. So let us run this code and see the output now. See, inside catch block is printed and inside finally block also printed. So let us see another scenario, that is the code will throw exception but there is no corresponding catch block. That is, the exception is not handled because we don't have corresponding catch block. In this case also the finally block code will be executed. For example, let us declare a array. Okay, let us declare an array inside this code. in a equal to, and we assign some values, and let us try to access try to access the element of array using index. Okay, for example, if you the if you use the index, for example, if you use the index 3, means actually we are trying to access the fourth element. Okay, the 0 is the first index, 1 is the second index, 3 is the third index. So this array has three elements, but we are trying to access the fourth element. In this case, the array index out of bounds exception will be thrown, but it is not caught, so we don't have corresponding catch block for that. So in this case, exception will be thrown, but there is no corresponding catch block. In this case also, the finally block code will be executed. Okay, so let us run this code and see the output now. See, in this case, what happened is we are getting the array index out of bound exception. This is because we are trying to access an element of an array, but actually doesn't exist. That array element does not exist. We have only three elements, but we are trying to access the fourth element using the index 3. In this case, we don't have corresponding catch block, so the code is abnormally terminated. But in this case also, the code inside the finally block will be executed. So it is executed now. So that is why we are getting the printout inside finally block. So the idea is the code inside finally block get executed always. So what kind of code we can write inside this finally block? The code, we think that it must run always. Those kind of code we have to write inside the finally block. For example, the code you write to release the resources. Once the usage is over, we have to release the resource. Those kind of code you have to write inside the finally block. For example, suppose you establish a connection, JDBC connection, in order to connect to database. Once you are done with the database interactions, you have to close the connection. So that code we need to write inside the finally block. Okay, so finally block code get executed always, and we have to write the code which we think that must always get executed. Those kind of code we have to write it inside the